Potential. It is the raw, unshaped power that lies within, waiting to be unlocked through action and growth. It's the capacity to become something greater than what you are right now, the promise of transformation through effort, resilience, and time. Unlike a finished product, potential is dynamic, constantly evolving as you challenge your limits and push past barriers. It's not just about what you could be, but the journey of becoming that version of yourself, full of struggle, discovery, and moments of breakthrough. True potential isn't measured by what's already achieved, but by the limitless horizon of what's possible. And no character in Dragon Ball history exhibits this more than Gohan. But to understand why Gohan is the face of potential in Dragon Ball, it is important to start with his background. And there's no better place to start than his parents. His mother is Chi-Chi. Chi-Chi is often seen as the fierce, no-nonsense counterbalance to Goku's carefree spirit, but there's so much more to her than meets the eye. Beneath her tough exterior lies a deep well of love and devotion for her family, driving her to be the strong-willed protector and guiding force they often need. She's a character who embodies determination. She never backs down from her vision of a stable, normal life despite being surrounded by Saiyans, gods, and intergalactic threats. Chi-Chi is the anchor that keeps her family grounded in the chaos, fiercely protective of her son's futures, while also being someone who in her own right values strength both in combat and in character. Her stubbornness is matched only by her loyalty, making her one of the most steadfast and underappreciated characters in the series. But that word stubbornness, it's important to remember that going forward. And then there's Goku. What hasn't been said about Goku? He's the heart and soul of Dragon Ball. He is the embodiment of boundless optimism and an insatiable thirst for growth. Another important word to remember. Goku isn't just a warrior, but he's also a pure-hearted adventurer, constantly seeking to surpass his own limits, not out of greed or power, but for the sheer love of challenge. Despite facing unimaginable threats, Goku's strength doesn't lie in his power alone. It's his unwavering spirit, his love for life, and his belief that even the toughest foes can push him to become better. What makes Goku truly iconic is that he never fights out of malice or pride. Every battle is an opportunity for him to learn, to evolve, to inspire those around him. In his simplicity lies his brilliance. He reminds us that the journey of growth, fueled by passion and a love for life, can be endless and ever rewarding. So you have a stubborn mother and an optimistic fighter. The pairing of Goku and Chi-Chi played a pivotal role in shaping Gohan into what is a kind of complex character we see at Raditz arrival. Goku's influence on Gohan was primarily about instilling a sense of curiosity and love for life. We see this in the very first moments of Dragon Ball Z as Gohan is exploring Mount Paosu. Although Goku hadn't trained Gohan in combat, his adventurous spirit and kind-hearted nature had already left a mark on his son. Goku's own carefree attitude meant that Gohan was allowed to be a child, innocent, curious, and sheltered from the intense world of battles that Goku had been a part of during his teenage years. Chi-Chi, on the other hand, was the grounding force in Gohan's life, and her influence is just as crucial. She envisioned a future for Gohan far removed from the violent world of warriors, pushing him towards academic excellence and a peaceful life. Chi-Chi's overprotectiveness shielded Gohan from the dangers that came with being the son of the Earth's strongest fighter, but it also created a gap between him and his latent Saiyan power. The result of Goku and Chi-Chi's opposing philosophies is a Gohan who, at Raditz's arrival, is timid and untrained, yet brimming with untapped potential. His moment of rage where he breaks free of his fear and lashes out at Raditz is the culmination of his parents' influence, the raw power from his father, and the fierce protective love from his mother. It's in that moment that we see the first glimpse of Gohan's true potential as a fighter, a blend of Goku's strength and Chi-Chi's emotional depth. And from that moment on, the story of Gohan and his potential was one of the most interesting to follow in Dragon Ball Z. I actually think it was the main overarching story for a long time. Chi-Chi's insistence on a peaceful, studious life led Gohan to view combat with reluctance, seeing it as something necessary but not part of who he wanted to be. This internal tug-of-war became more pronounced during the Saiyan saga because after Goku's death, Piccolo's harsh yet meaningful training forced Gohan to confront the reality of his power. Piccolo, unlike Goku or Chi-Chi, didn't coddle Gohan, but instead exposed him to the hardships of being a fighter, helping him navigate his fear and hesitation. But even that wasn't enough to truly break Gohan out of his shell. This struggle to find his footing as a warrior was brought to the forefront when Vegeta and Nappa arrived. While his growing courage was noticeable as he didn't cower away from the situation as a whole, moments like the combo attack against Nappa and his hesitation to land the final blow showed that Gohan hadn't fully embraced his role as a fighter yet. He was still caught between the instinct to act and the fear of truly stepping into the battlefield. So if the strength of his father wasn't enough to get him to change, the need to protect his loved ones like his mother didn't force him to change, and even the harsh training he went through didn't force him to change, what could possibly cause Gohan to break out of his shell and fight to his potential? It was lost. Goku's love for life and Chi-Chi's stubborn desire to protect naturally makes a person who probably doesn't like fighting, but an extreme emotional reaction would cause Gohan to forget about all of that and fight with everything he has. So seeing Piccolo die right in front of him caused Gohan to snap, and for the rest of the Saiyan saga, we see Gohan fight confidently. Even when he knows he's outmatched, he still fights. And it was in these early moments that fans of the series like myself began to connect with Gohan and wanted to see him win going forward. He was easy to root for, and that trend continues into the Frieza saga. Gohan finds himself taking on Dodoria and the Ginyu Force with no hesitation, and in the Ginyu Force fight specifically, Gohan nearly dies because he was so headstrong for a fight he couldn't win. It's such a far cry from the Gohan he was literally a month before. However, there were still levels Gohan had to reach, and again, we see Gohan break through another ceiling when he believes Krillin is killed. For a moment, Gohan was the strongest protagonist in the story, and the only person up to that point to truly damage Frieza. But as quick as that power came, it was gone. This is what Gohan was able to achieve by age 6. But for 4 years, Gohan didn't have any significant moments. He was certainly the strongest non-Super Saiyan after Piccolo, but he didn't have any memorable moments until he went inside the hyperbolic time chamber. The time was coming. Soon there will be no more excuses as to why Gohan couldn't be the strongest character in the series. By becoming a Super Saiyan and achieving better ki control, nothing but experience would separate him from Goku, Vegeta, and Trunks. So, Goku fights Cell and bows out of the fight before he can truly lose, and from that decision brings forth Gohan. And everyone is confused, actually more so bewildered that Goku would even put his son in that position. But as an audience member, I thought it only made sense. Being a fan and watching Gohan up to that point made it clear that under the right circumstances, Gohan was the only one that could beat Cell. However, the key point is under the right circumstances. What were the right circumstances? In the past, it was losing a loved one that caused Gohan to explode, and we see glimpses of that unbelievable potential. But for an enemy like Cell, a glimpse wouldn't be enough. There would need to be something this time that would push Gohan more than ever before, and that would be using the Cell Juniors to fight the Z Fighters. It was the first time Gohan was ever paralyzed, and not in a literal sense, but metaphorically. Every other time Gohan would get emotional, he'd leap into action. But this time, he didn't know what to do. If he went to fight the Cell Juniors, he'd be ignoring the real threat in Cell. But if he forgot about his mother's stubbornness to protect people and just fought Cell, he'd be forgetting about his friends. That's why an android like 16 can say the words "let go" and Gohan explodes. Those two words were all Gohan needed to hear. He needed someone, anyone, to assure him that making some kind of move was better than doing nothing at all. Gohan's potential was never about gradual progress like Goku's. It was about the ability to make astronomical leaps which, once unlocked, could place him in leagues above the rest, making him the strongest by a long shot when fully realized. And that's what Super Saiyan 2 was for Gohan. Super Saiyan 2 Gohan was Gohan at his most Saiyan. And I don't mean that he's being like Goku, because Goku is a Saiyan that behaves like a human. No, I mean a Saiyan. He's arrogant, he's ruthless, he's brutal. Super Saiyan 2 Gohan isn't like either of his parents. He isn't fighting to protect. If so, he would have quickly disposed of Cell. And he isn't fighting to better himself either. He was so much stronger than Cell that there was no challenge there. Gohan was fighting to hurt Cell and nothing more. It was one of the most satisfying things to watch. It was such a long time coming, but unfortunately, this would be the peak of Gohan's story. After his fight with Cell, Dragon Ball Z would have a 7-year time skip where Gohan would essentially become an adult. Potential was such a big part of Gohan's character as a child, and honestly, it still is even now. He's had moments where he's been the strongest, like his moments as Ultimate Gohan in the Buu Saga, and more recently his time using Gohan Beast, but it just isn't the same as rooting for his potential when he was a kid. Part of what made Gohan's potential so intriguing back then was because of the emotional reactions associated with it. But if we're all being honest, it's a little unrealistic to expect that kind of emotional instability from an adult. As you grow, you become more sure of who you are. So that identity problem he had as a child when it came to fighting naturally went away as he got older. He's never been a fighter at heart, and as he grew, it became more clear. As I've gotten older, it's kind of sad to realize, but it's the truth. But with that being said, if you haven't already, please hit the like button and subscribe for more videos like this. We're growing a lot lately, and I just want to say thank you. This is Big Tune, and thanks for watching. Y'all have a good one.